All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Tony and I are very excited to speak with all of you today and present the slides that we have. I thought I would kick things off just giving a quick introduction and cover some housekeeping items, and then I'll turn it off to Tony, who's going to take us through the slides that we've prepared to cover today. So my name's Sarah Davidson. I'm the EVP here at ECRM. And today we are excited to talk to you about really some of the in-person opportunities that we have throughout the year to help get you face-to-face with buyers. We are recording this session today, so if there are things that we cover that you want to revisit or share with a coworker, after today's webinar, we do intend to send an email with a link to today's recording. So you will be receiving that. And then we want to make sure to answer all of your questions. So if you have questions as we're going through the slides, feel free to enter them in the Q&A area. You'll find at the bottom of the Zoom screen. There also is a chat that I'll be monitoring. So put those in and we'll either cover them as we're going through. I'm going to be monitoring that as Tony is going through the slides and can jump in with your questions. And anything we don't answer as we go through, we'll definitely have time at the end for Q&A that we will make sure all the questions are answered. So with that, Tony, I'll kick it off to you to introduce yourself and go through the slides.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Certainly glad to be with you today. Really, the purpose of today's call is to make sure that everyone here understands how RangeMe and ECRM work together, and we'll take you through that process and make sure you feel comfortable about the enterprise that we have here. But as Sarah mentioned, my name is Tony Giovanni. I am the Senior Vice President over General Merchandise and Beauty at ECRM. I've been here for 8 years, and I certainly can relate with all of you. I was a supplier for 23 years before coming to work here at ECRM, utilizing both RangeMe as well as the ECRM sessions in the businesses that I worked. I actually probably attended over 30 sessions as a supplier, so I certainly understand the challenges that each of you face in growing your brands and building your distribution, and certainly can be a resource to you as we go through this process and kind of make sure that you relate. I can relate to certainly all the things that you're dealing with and be able to obviously bring our services to you, ensure you understand all the things that we do here at RangeMe and ECRM. So when you think about RangeMe, I believe everybody on this call is a RangeMe customer. You're on the platform. You're using that platform to build your brand recognition, to obviously gain interest amongst buyers. And that process really is a marketing function. If you think about it, you're trying to build your brand recognition. You're trying to gain visibility of your brand amongst buyers. And that's one step, obviously, in the process. The next step is once you start to gain that recognition and buyers really want to kind of meet with you, there's an opportunity through our ECRM business to really start to nurture those relationships with the buyers through curated meeting process. And that's the sales function of the business. So you're marketing your brand through RangeMe, and then you have the opportunity to really kind of roll up your sleeves and do business on the ECRM side. And it's a 1-2 punch that is really necessary. If you think about maybe the way business was done 25 years ago, and you're trying to start a brand, you go to the trade publications, you put an ad in the trade publication to gain some of that visibility. Well, that visibility is available to you now 24/7, 365 days of the year. And it's a great platform to be on. And adding the ECRM services to that certainly can help you continue to grow your brands. So RangeMe was established about 10 years ago. And again, it's an opportunity for you to build out a brand page that's visible to all the buyers that are on the site. They can go in and search for products and really kind of narrow down items that they're looking for. It's part of the discovery process, and it gets your brands in front of those buyers, whether you're a free RangeMe user, a RangeMe starter, RangeMe premium customer, RangeMe pro. Uh, that opportunity is available to everyone, and buyers can search for your brands in the same possible way. You can utilize different sourcing campaigns that we have to continue to make your brands front and center for those buyers. And again, it's a great opportunity to have this working for you at all times. On the ECRM side, we take it to the next level through the curated process, the face-to-face meetings, the opportunity to sit down with buyers that are specific to your category. It is very structured. It's very efficient in the process, and the fact that we cover entire categories in a 2 to 3 day time frame, and it allows you to maximize opportunities with those buyers during those sessions. And we'll get into all the specifics and all the details of each of our sessions so you understand exactly what it is that we do. But we have over 80 category sessions that we conduct every year. And those are conducted across different verticals that we have within the organization. Food and beverage covers, and again, what we do with ECRM that makes us a little bit different than traditional trade shows is we get granular into the categories, but we basically cover every category that you see within a store. So if you think about food and beverage, everything from center store to adult beverages, coffees, teas, cocos, all of those things, they're all involved. We have a session for every category within the store. Same for general merchandise. Some of our bigger categories there would be pet, school and office, baby. We have impulse sessions. We have sessions for outdoor. So there's, again, if you think about it, we're covering all areas of the store. We even have a vertical for pharmacy and medical markets, which includes both branded and generic pharmaceuticals. We do contract manufacturing and packaging, those types of things. Health and beauty care, everything from cough and cold to cosmetics, skincare, hair care, sun care, personal care products. And then food service. We branched out into food service. We're working with restaurants and hotels and different food distributors and wholesalers that, again, bring your market or bring your products to the marketplace.
Yeah, and if I could just make one comment here, Tony, we designed our calendar of sessions, all 80 of these sessions, purposely, like Tony's saying, almost a session for every aisle of the store, because we want things to be more intimate, and we really want to make sure we're connecting the right buyers and sellers, the right decision maker with the right categories that you're offering. And another thing that was really important in designing our calendar is the time of year we have it. Right now in Chicago, we're hosting a series of different sessions. We have a frozen foods program going on, a deli dairy bakery program. We're talking to all of the buyers about, when do you make decisions about this category? Next week, we have a Valentine's Day candy session. We know right now is when the buyers are making decisions for what's going to be in stores for Valentine's next year in 2026. So the calendar, instead of just having 3, 4 major weeks where everything's covered, we want to do it when buyers are making decisions and where we can get the right small group of people together that can really do business. So I know Tony's going to elaborate on that, but I just wanted to cover it as we talked about the categories.
No, it's a great point, Sarah, and that's the other thing that's crucial when you're thinking about distribution, is that many of these categories are only covered once a year. And if you don't hit that timing and you don't get in front of that buyer, obviously it's a process through RangeMe, being front and center with that buyer and having that brand out there to get the recognition on the platform is extremely important and allows you to do that throughout the course of the year. But there's that certain time frame when the brands are being reviewed and the categories are being reviewed. And if you miss that time frame, you may not get another opportunity to get in front of that buyer again for those crucial meetings until the next year. So as a supplier, I certainly know it's traditionally an 18 to 36-month process. So the sooner you can obviously engage these buyers, the sooner you can get in front of them and then stay in front of them is critically important. We have been in business, RangeMe has been in business for about 10 years. ECRM has been in business. Last year, we celebrated our 30th anniversary. So we've been working with buyers for a long time, and we are well ingrained in many, many retailers across many different categories. And you can see it here on this chart. We work with everybody from the analyst position all the way up through category managers, divisional merchandise managers, as well as VPs. So we're well ingrained. We have great relationships with these folks. And that's why we're able to do things not only at our category sessions, but many of you may have come in through things like the Walmart open call, or you may have come in through the Lowe's Into the Blue event. These are sourcing campaigns that we will do for a lot of these retailers because we have the relationships with them. And that carries over not only on RangeMe, but it also carries over on the ECRM side of the business as well. And certainly you can listen to all of us here at our ECRM and talk to you about, the success that we've had working with our customers. But where you really see it is amongst whether it's new brands, and this particular brand, Skin Centric, has, this is one of the newer brands that we're working with that has come in through RangeMe, got noticed by some retailers, participated in a session, and is now starting to really nurture her business and starting to see that early success. And we'll show you some examples of other brands that we've worked with for a long time that continue to grow and utilize ECRM on a regular basis. When you come from RangeMe, obviously into ECRM, you have opportunities to get in at whatever price point or whatever registration option works best for you. We have things that allow for emerging brands. That's called a RangeMe Discovery Hub. Innovation Pipeline is for medium-sized brands that maybe don't need a ton of space, want a little bit of privacy. And I'll go through each one of these registration options for you. But there's something that serves every goal and every budget that's out there. So there are 3 different registration options you can come into ECRM at. The first one we'll review is a planning session, and this is really the kind of if I'll call it, this is kind of the best way to showcase your brands because it provides you with the most space and the most privacy. You'll get 2 attendees. They're 20-minute meetings. So you'll either come in at a 10 or 20-minute meeting option. The planning session is a 20-minute meeting appointment. You have private meeting space in the fact that we'll clear out a hotel room. We'll put the tables in there for you, and you can create your brand showcase, as you can see here in this picture. The other great thing about any one of the registration options that you may come in at ECRM is that everything is included. So your hotel accommodations, your sleeping rooms, as well as your meeting rooms, meals and cocktails, any networking, educational opportunities that are taking place, they're all included in the price that you pay to come to a session. If you don't need 20 minutes, there are 10-minute meeting options. The two different options. One is called an innovation pipeline. This one gives you a little bit more privacy. As you can see here, there's a pipe and drape. It's a 10 by 10 booth that allows you, again, to showcase your brands, merchandising them as you wish. You'll have one attendee, so one sleeping room. As I mentioned, 10-minute meetings, your hotel accommodations, meals, everything is included. The same thing, and I will say this, no matter whether you come in for a 10-minute meeting, you come in for a 20-minute meeting, Discovery Hub, Innovation Pipeline, or planning session, the retailers you meet with are the same. It's just a matter of how many minutes you meet with those folks. So it really doesn't make a difference. Buyers don't. They have no preference on who it is they meet with relative to the time that you choose. The RangeMe Discovery Hub is really for emerging brands, so new brands that maybe are just coming for the first time. It's the least expensive option that we have. Again, one 10-minute meeting. You'll have meeting space as well as a table that you can display your brands. It is a 10-minute meeting, as I said. Your hotel accommodations, everything is exactly the same as an innovation pipeline. You'll still have meals, educational services, networking functions. All of those things are included in the 10-minute meeting option as well.
And just to clarify, there's been a couple questions in the chat, and we'll get to all of them. We will have the recording sent out after this. And when Tony's saying 10-minute meetings, that's for your whole schedule. So on average, our app from all 80 sessions, the average meeting schedule is 20. But we have some sessions where there's 50, 60 appointments over 3 days, some sessions where you're going to have 15 appointments. And that's why you'll see kind of different pricing on our website every session, depending on the amount of days, the amount of buyers, how big the schedule is going to be. The pricing varies just a little bit, but that is for multiple 10-minute meetings or multiple 20-minute meetings that you'd have in each of those registration options. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I'll also add, the reason that we have these sessions is obviously to connect you with the buyers that make decisions in your products, give you an opportunity to pitch. But the value comes in getting everybody together that's in the same category, in the same industry, because after your pitch, there's all these opportunities to connect and truly build relationships with these buyers. And we know these larger buyers, these regional buyers, there needs to be some trust there. This is going to be a big commitment on both of your ends. And so at our sessions, and we're going to talk about this in some of the slides, there's so much more than just your time to pitch. So those registration options that Tony went through, that's where you're going to pitch. But then we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, we have educational sessions, networking opportunities. There's times to bump into people in the elevators, because at these sessions, we actually book all the retailers' flights and hotel accommodations. It's one of the ways that we know that they're going to be there and they're going to be where they need to be when the things are on the schedule. So that way, everybody's booked at the same hotel together and can bump into each other at the elevator and the gym in the morning, and can see each other at all these meal functions that we have. So you notice there was a lot of bullet points of things that were included. But I like to tell people, like, once you register, the only additional thing you need to do is get yourself and your product there. There's not going to be a laundry list of pricing things to add on. You don't have to buy a garbage can or carpets or hire people to move your freight. We get all of that there because we want you to focus on selling and building these relationships to maximize your time. And it will also be important to prepare for the meetings, which we're going to give you a lot of information to do that, which I think goes into the next couple slides there. So we'll keep answering the questions as we go, but I wanted to address those couple things before we moved on.
No, I think it's a great segue, is that this is really what sets ECRM apart from other industry events and trade shows that you attend. It's all about the meetings. That's where, as I mentioned earlier, where you kind of roll up your sleeves to get work done. and we help you and assist you in that process. And that's really where the key point of difference is that we offer the ability to curate meetings for you. So when you come to a session, as Sarah mentioned, whether you have 20 meetings or you have 50 meetings in a particular week, um, that is the work that we're doing behind the scenes. So when you get there, matter of fact, within a month of your session, you're going to know who it is that you're meeting with. So you have time to prepare for those specific retailers, and you understand who it is you're going to be meeting with and how you may want to present to each one of those particular retailers. But obviously, being part of RangeMe, uh, you have the opportunity to be pre-qualified. In the case of RangeMe Premium, we're ensuring that we're pre-qualifying you. You have UPC codes, you have your certificates of insurance, all of those things that are critically important that you're retail ready. And buyers love this process too, because if they were doing all of this scheduling on their own in their office, it would take them weeks and months to do this, to obviously answer the phone or emails, get the meetings scheduled, have the suppliers come into their office, taking time out of their day in addition to all the other things that they need to do. Whereas when we bring them into a hotel, their focus is primarily on meeting people. They're there for 3 days. Again, Sarah mentioned we're under one roof, so they're taking their entire day to meet with suppliers, and it's a great opportunity for them to get a bunch of work done and be very efficient about it over the course of a few days. Which, for them, time is the most critical thing and the most valuable thing that they have. And most buyers will tell you they do not have enough time. So if we can help them in that process, that's why they love to attend our sessions. Uh, so part of that curation process is ensuring that we are gathering enough information and understanding your business, both on the buyer side and the supplier side, so we can match. And part of that curation process is taking the capabilities from the suppliers and matching those up to the retailer needs. So if a buyer tells us specifically that they're looking for some key ingredients, or they're looking for some key products within a particular category, and we know that you have that through all of the information that we're gathering about your company, we can then ensure that those buyers are meeting with you, and we're putting those we're gathering that and obviously putting those meetings on your schedule. So it's about taking your brand capabilities, your company capabilities, and matching them up to the buyer needs. And it really does work. As I mentioned, we've been doing this for 30 years. So the buyers trust us in making that decision. And we really push on your behalf. If we know you have those capabilities, we really push to ensure that those meetings take place. And how we do that is, and a lot of people will tell you this is the backbone of our company, is that we have a team of very professional and capable people known as our client success management team. We have a team within each vertical. We have a buyer and supplier client success management team. So as soon as you get registered for a session, within 48 hours, you'll be assigned a client success manager. That client success manager will reach out to you and they will begin working with you to gather all of the information. We have a great platform on ECRM called ECRM MarketGate. ECRM MarketGate allows you to gather and put all of this information about your company, everything that you want us to know about your company and your brands, into the setup process and the preparation process. And then that's the information that we take on the supplier side, and the buyers will do the same. There are certain things that they're looking for to help grow their categories. They'll identify those things, and we take all that information, and that's how we curate a schedule for you. So again, unlike anything that ever happens in a trade show, We are doing things much, much differently because we want you to get meetings with category managers that are buying your specific products. That's why we have 80 sessions. We don't have one session that's one shoe fits all model here. This is very, very granular, and that's what makes us different than everybody else.
Yes, and I think this slide is another big point that of difference is it truly is a white glove service, the sessions. These client success managers are going to hold your hand through the process. I actually started 20 years ago at ECRM as a client success manager, and our customers were my best friends. I feel like we got to know each other really well because there's so many touch points leading into the session. We want to arm you with everything to be successful on site, giving you all the great insights of the buyers, their not just their contact information, but what they're looking for. And, from those things to help with the pitch, but also just all the logistical things that sometimes are such a headache and overwhelming when you're preparing to go into, any travel that you have. So we book your hotel accommodations and we track your freight and make sure it gets there. And just all those things, they really hold your hand through the process. And we have a great portal that kind of takes you through the steps. They'll set up a call, spend some time walking through the steps, and can engage with you as frequently. Sometimes people want to set up a weekly call going in. Some want to just handle it through a series of emails as we're going in, but we'll make sure you have everything you need going into the session. And the more you utilize the client success manager, I think the more successful you can be because you can really set you up for success.
Absolutely. And again, now this is another great example. Mecor Corporation was a RangeMe premium customer. Uh, really for the past 10 years. They got in very early. And since then, they've obviously attended many sessions. They're up to now 21 ECRM sessions, but they have been able to really grow their business utilizing the services that we provide. Came in an early infancy stage of their business, and now 21 sessions later, doing business across the United States and have really grown their brands as a result of the relationship they have here at ECRM and utilizing the meetings to obviously grow the business. So this next piece, it really kind of hits home for me because, as I mentioned, I've attended 30 sessions as a supplier and really just wanted to provide, in addition to obviously talking about the services that ECRM and RangeMe have for you, is we want to make sure that when you come to a session, you're obviously prepared. And part of that preparation process is understanding what retailers expect. And as you all know, the way to continue to get distribution is showing how your products are different. You're driving incrementality. You're a disruptor in the marketplace. You meet these white space unmet needs. You want to make sure that your brands are driving consumer trips, that you're increasing your category sales and your profitability in the space. That's the retailer expectations. And what you need to consider is obviously a very strong go-to-market strategy. So when you get there, number one, you absolutely have to be prepared. And you also have to be careful what you wish for. We bring a very, diverse group of retailers to our sessions. Everything from we don't necessarily bring mom and pop retailers, but we do bring, smaller mid-market retailers to a session. But we also work with retailers like Walmart. And part of the distribution process is obviously ensuring that your supply chains, your production, your warehousing, your inventory, all of those things align to the retailers that you're working with. And it's important to understand And as I mentioned, be careful what you wish for, because uh, you want to take it easy, because if you're not ready to do business with a retailer like Walmart, and Walmart decides it's a good opportunity to give you a PO, you have to be prepared for what you're going to get into. And a lot of companies that we work with want to obviously meet with the major retailers, and it is important to do that because, again, it's an 18 to 36 month process. But at the same time, understand what your capabilities are, understand what it is that you're going to be available to do, and work towards those goals, because uh, it is 25% of the battle is getting the distribution. And I know a lot of times we think it's the opposite. 75% of the battle is getting the distribution and 25% is selling. 25% of the battle is getting the distribution. 75% of the battle is staying on the customer's shelf. And you obviously have to generate enough consumption to be able to do that. And as I mentioned, if you get into a bigger retailer and you have a small marketing budget, and you need to do a lot of things to meet their needs, sometimes it's difficult to do that, and you don't want to be in that situation. Some must-haves that you have to ensure that you're retail ready. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, UPC codes. You have to make sure that you have certificates of insurance, that your contracts are really tight, and you understand what it is you're signing up for. You want to make sure that you understand your cost of goods, ensure you price your products the right way, and that you have the marketing and data available to you to really drive those products off the shelf. When you sit down and actually meet with a retailer at a session, you have to remember your meeting time is either 10 to 20-minute meetings. So you want to make sure that you get to the point fairly quickly. A lot of people will want to exchange pleasantries and talk about, maybe things they've done. The important thing is that you get to your products, get to how it is that you're going to create some chaos within their marketplace, or create some white space disruption, and how your products are going to do that. And certainly what you want to do next is leave some time to allow for questions, and really, kind of iron out what the next steps should be, because once that time ends, that buyer is going to be moving on to the next meeting. Now, that doesn't say you couldn't catch up with them at a cocktail reception later on, or at dinner, but it's really important to try to do all of those things within the either 10 or 20 minutes a lot of time. And then finally, you want to have some wow factors. And when I say wow factors, what I mean by that is, if your company is built off of, a purpose, if you have specific company values that you adhere to, if you have certifications, patents, FDA approvals, things like that, certainly identifying your strategic positioning in the marketplace, how your pricing or your margins might be able to drive growth for them, how your product is different from competition. You're not another Me Too product, because it's very expensive for retailers to take a product off the shelf if they're going to replace it with a product that's going to do exactly the same thing. So again, if you're able to drive incrementality, and you can prove that, whether it's because you've been going direct to consumer for a while, and you know that your products have this unique position in the marketplace, those are the things you'll want to talk to. And any other marketing initiatives, if you've been picked up on social media, or if a celebrity has picked up your brand or something like that, you want to make sure you're identifying those things and letting the buyers know. And then also, Sarah touched on this a little bit earlier. The one thing that really is unique about what it is that we do versus possibly a trade show is that when you go to a trade show, let's just say it's in Las Vegas. There are people staying at 40 different hotels on the strip. And once that trade show is over, you leave your booth, you go to a different hotel, you're obviously going to have dinner. Everybody is in a different location. What really makes us unique as a company is the fact that we do everything under one roof. So all the buyers and sellers are staying at the same hotel. We create enough activities outside of the meetings that really provides for additional conversation. And it's not just about meetings, it's about education. It's about the opportunity to sit down with somebody who potentially is a direct competitor of yours, but you're all facing the same uh, issues, the same concerns. I mean, you think about what's happening in the world today. These are opportunities for you to sit down and talk to other people that are facing these challenges and understand where kind of everybody is within the same industry that you're in. We have plenty of networking functions, whether it's the meals that are served, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We have cocktail receptions. We do have educational content. We'll do off-site events, Top Golf, Pinstripes, House Blues, or venues that we'll use. So again, it's not just about the meetings, it's about building relationships with people that are in the same boat as you, dealing with the same retailers as you. And it's an opportunity, again, to continue the conversation with retailers that you've previously met with. I mentioned educational opportunities. These are, we'll have people like Nielsen IQ come in, or we'll have presenters that are specific to a certain industry that will come in. We'll have industry roundtable discussions where we'll bring buyers and potentially sellers, and then people from the service industry that will conduct these roundtables. And each table will have a different discussion going on. So again, it's not just about the meetings. That's the backbone of what it is that we do. But after the meetings are over, there's opportunities for other things to continue the conversations. And again, what makes us really, really unique versus trade shows is that you're not just sitting in a booth waiting for somebody to walk by, and potentially that person who walks by, you could be sitting in a booth and somebody from Walmart walks by, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's your buyer. Sure, it's somebody that may be able to take your business card and give it to the buyer. We hear that a lot when you go to a trade show. I'll hand this off to your buyer, but we're not really sure that happens. What makes us completely different is the fact that we do 80 of these sessions specifically for your particular category, meeting with those buyers that matter the most to you. And this just gives you, just kind of an example. Our average price point, now this is across both 10 and 20-minute meetings, is around $11,500. And everything that we talked about is included in that price. Your sleeping rooms, your meals. The only thing that's really outside of that price point that you pay is maybe the freight and stuff that you send, but that's also included in this analysis that we have here. Whereas if you were to go to a trade show, whether you're part of an association and you need to pay that, you need to pay badge fees, and then you need to pay for your space. And if you want some carpeting, if you want a trash can, if you want a high top table for your meetings, and then outside of that, you're obviously paying for your hotel rooms, your meals, all of those things. It really is a big difference for what it is that you're getting. So again, trade shows are great for marketing your brands to large groups. ECRM is great for rolling up your sleeves and actually getting business done and having meetings with those buyers that matter the most to you. Here's an example. This is a new customer who just came in as a RangeMe premium customer. She was able to come in for RangeMe live meetings, which are basically three free meetings that are held at a session. And she just came in for those three free meetings. She was able to build some traction up, and now she's already coming to more sessions this year because she saw the value in what it is that we do. So just to wrap up, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you're on the RangeMe platform. You're taking the right steps to build your brand, market your brand to those buyers, stay in front of them, on 365 days a year. The next step, if the next step for you is to have meetings, we can assist in that process. We can get your brands in front of those buyers and curate those meetings for you. And we just want to assist in that process. As I mentioned, we've been doing it for 30 years. We've kind of perfected um, this ability to match up the right buyers and the right products. And you can talk to a lot of different brands. I know we mentioned a few of them on the site. Uh, Me specifically, as I mentioned, attended over 30 sessions. I attended both with established organizations as well as with, I worked for a couple startup companies. First time I came to ECRM in the cough cold category, working as a startup, we had zero distribution. We were selling on Amazon. 3 years later, we were in 30,000 retail stores. And I attribute all of that to coming to ECRM sessions because I came to ECRM sessions in the cough cold category for 3 consecutive years. And I will tell you that if you're going to jump in, you really need to stay front and center. So you need to not only come once, but you need to continue that process because it's about nurturing those relationships and getting in front of the right buyers at the right time. And that's what it is that we do here. We appreciate everybody who sat on the call today. We are offering a 10% discount to any session for anyone who has attended. So what we want to do now is take some time to answer some questions that you may have. And Sarah, we can go through
Yeah.
those questions now.
We got some great questions. So thank you, Tony. And yes, thank you everyone for your great questions. We'll start diving into those. And I'll just reiterate, we will be sending you an email with a recording of this presentation. Also with the offer Tony just mentioned, we'd love to have you and your great brands at these sessions. So for the next 30 days, if you would like to come to a session, we're offering an extra 10% discount off for everyone that's at this webinar today. So that will be in the email, along with a link to our session listings so that you can go and explore what session's right for you. There'll be a link to set up time with me on my calendar where I can guide you to which session makes the most sense or answer any questions that you have that you just want to address one-on-one. But we have 15 minutes left, so I want to dive in and get to all of your questions. The first question we had in here was, how do I access ECRM? I'll put the website link in the chat right now. It'll also be in that email I just mentioned. But once you come in, you don't need to log in just to view our website. And actually on our website where all our sessions are, we're really transparent with everything. So if you click on a session, let's say you're looking at the skincare session coming up in June, you can actually see all of the buyers that we already have registered to participate. So I know that was another question that came in the chat is who's coming to the sessions? I think it was for general merchandise, maybe a household session. We have that listed on our website, so you can see everyone that's registered. Another question that was in the chat was, what types of retailers do you have? And I know Tony covered that a little bit in saying, we have a diverse group of retailers. Our sweet spot is really those larger retailers to mid-size retailers. Our initial requirement for retailers to participate in a session is they have to be doing at least $30 million in business or more. So we're really looking to get with those kind of power players that are out there that can get you a good return on your investment. Getting a deal with any of the retailers at our session should more than cover the cost to participate. And so, that's really our sweet spot, is the strong relationships we have with the top tier retailers out there that you see running campaigns on RangeMe all the time, doing sourcing campaigns and looking for particular products. And then that mid-size retailer. There was a question about distributors. We do engage with distributors, large distributors, like your Kahis of the world, but also those like kind of regional and mid-sized distributors. I'd say on average, that makes up maybe 20% of our list. That could sway to 10% or 25% at some sessions, but for the most part, we're looking to get you with the retailer, with the end decision maker. But we do include those distributors that we know are critically important to help get your product to a lot of the accounts that you meet with on site. So you can see both at an ECRM session. Okay, let me dive into some more. I think I covered a bunch just in that I saw in there. How is the market for cosmetics, natural, vegan, and sustainable products? Is it in high demand, or are they just starting? So Tony, I'll kind of toss that one to you, covering since you lead our beauty category.
Yeah, natural cosmetics has been something that has been in demand for a while. Certainly sustainable products. A matter of fact, we have had sustainable sessions specifically around health and beauty care, as well as grocery and other categories. It certainly is top of mind for a lot of folks as they try to, do everything possible to, limit as much, waste and stuff as they move forward. So the cosmetics category continues to be one of our biggest sessions every year. So again, any point of difference that you have within the marketplace is something that retailers are looking for. They again, if you're a market disruptor, if you're coming in with things and ideas that other brands aren't thinking about, it's a great opportunity for you to obviously join in. And it is really still at an infancy stage. I would say that it is something that retailers have been looking at, but again, it's definitely a direction that a lot of retailers are not just in cosmetics either, across really all categories.
Yeah. One of the things that we do for all the sessions is, first validate what the buyer can make decisions on, but also ask them, like, what are you interested in? Why are you coming? What's your focus? What are you hoping to get out of that? And we take that information and actually share it with you as an attendee. So if you can see their focus is on something sustainable, or their focus is to find, is something specific, you can kind of gear your presentation to their particular need and what their objective is. So just another thing that you can help in your pitch. Another question we have here is, I'm looking for a buyer from Costco that does sustainable bed sheets. Is that possible through ECRM? Potentially. So we do have a number of buyers from Costco that attend our sessions. But you'd have to look at the session for bed sheets that we have and see if Costco's attending. That's why we always post that on our website. The one thing that I do always share with people is, we're great to sell to the whole list. If you look at our list and there's one retailer that's on that list, and that's why you're coming, is just that one retailer, I don't know that we're the right fit. We're here to facilitate a whole value package of opportunities for you to pitch to a number of retailers. So I always get a little nervous when someone's coming for just one account, because one, I worry that they're not going to get enough value because you're putting all your weight in that one account. And if it doesn't go well, then that's a big investment for that. So we want you to get the most out of it. And hopefully you'll see a lot of other retailers on the list that you're interested in. If you have questions afterwards, Ivan, of that particular buyer, I'd have to look it up. I don't know offhand if we have a bed sheets buyer from Costco coming to a future session.
I don't know. It would be the home decor session though that's taking place in September.
Okay, let's see here. I want to know the connection between RangeMe and ECRM. So thank you for that question. Kind of what we were explaining at the beginning is that we are one company. We ECRM purchased RangeMe back in 2017, so we're the parent company, and we feel like it's the perfect blend of what suppliers need between the one-on-one interaction, like Tony was explaining at the beginning of the call, through our sessions where you can really sell and pitch your product. And then on RangeMe, 365 days a year, you are there to be discovered from retailers, and even more importantly, be aware of all of these limited time campaigns that these retailers are putting out on the platform. Last year, we did over 500 limited time campaigns. So for all you starter, premium, pro members, I always say that's the goal. That's it. That's in your subscription, that you are constantly in the know of anything that these retailers are looking for. And that's when you want to make your submissions. So if a retailer is out there saying, I'm interested in, you know, snacks, like let's just say like, natural organic snacks, submit then, because they're going to be reviewing that when that cutoff date is. We work with them to review that right then and there. So we know there's going to be an outcome. They're going to be reviewing, they're going to look at your product. So you want to make sure to constantly be reviewing those limited time campaigns that are on the portal. And I think we're almost at what we were at last year, and we're not even halfway through the year. So a lot of retailers are putting out those campaigns and announcing what they're looking for. So hopefully that helps with that question. You're looking, someone mentioned, let's see, Travis, you're looking for buyers of natural garden products. So Tony, what session would you
Yeah, so we
refer you
just
guys to?
actually had that session late January, early February. That's part of our outdoor seasonal lawn and garden session. That took place, as I mentioned, it took place earlier this year. We are already working towards that session for next year. Take place actually down in Destin, Florida next. Like I said, I think it's early February. So there is an opportunity for that moving forward. And then
We got a
here's
question.
another question. I don't know if we want to make sure, are the buyers typically distributors, or are they actually buyers from the store themselves? They're the actual buyers from the store themselves. We do have distributors that attend as well, but they're looking to bring brands into their distribution network. But the buyers that we work with are from the retailers themselves. And the other one, I want to know if there's where the connection is between RangeMe and ECRM. ECRM purchased RangeMe about 8 years ago. RangeMe was founded in Australia 10 years ago. Moved their headquarters to San Francisco. We purchased them back in 2017, I believe. But it's the RangeMe plus ECRM is an enterprise, and hopefully we've identified and you're familiar now with how the two work together.
There's a question about produce suppliers. Is ECRM relevant for you? The answer is yes, in food service. So we currently do not have any retail focused sessions in produce, but we do have produce suppliers that go to our food service sessions that are targeting universities, restaurant groups, hotel chains, major food service distributors like your US Foods and Cisco's. So we can get you more information on that, Madeline, if you'd like. But I'd look at the food service sessions if that's an area for you. How do we find who our ECRM success rep is? So once you're registered, that's when you're assigned a rep. So you don't have a rep until you're registered. So Jack, if you're registered, respond to my email. My email is going to go out right after this presentation. Respond to the email and I can get you to your right person. I'd be surprised if they're not already emailing you. So they're probably in your spam if you have found them that way. But I'd be happy if you just respond to the email to find that for you. Is ECRM good for luxury fashion accessories?
That's a great question. We currently do not have a session for luxury fashion products. Again, I think you hit the nail on the head. We work with companies like Walmart and Target, and Costco, and all the drugstores, but we're not working with high-end department stores. We do work with Macy's, but if you're looking for really high-end retailers for luxury fashion items, we don't do any sessions in apparel as of now. We're always evaluating categories. The most important thing is obviously having the relationship with the buyers and making sure we can bring the right buyers to a session. If we're not able to bring the buyers to a session, then that's when we decide it's not something we want to get into because it doesn't add a ton of value to you if we can't bring you the buyers.
All right, I'm going to try to squeeze in a couple more of these questions. I know we're getting tight on time, and Tony and I are free to, we will answer questions as long as they keep coming, but I know I
Yep.
want to be sensitive to your time. So we have a question here about how are schedules put together? Great question. Get it all the time. The short way to answer that is it's a curated process. So it's not a one size fit all. So we're going to ask information from both the buyer and the seller. From the supplier, we're going to ask you categories and capabilities. And from the buyers, we're going to ask them what categories they can make decisions on and any requirements to do business. Once those are completed, we then merge those together and start building the schedule. Every single appointment we confirm with the buyers and then start adding it to your schedule. I like to tell suppliers, we are your advocates. We want to get you as many meetings as possible, but we want to get you the right meetings because the worst thing for us is if somebody comes and flies all the way down to a session and has half the meetings with buyers that aren't in their category or they really can't make decisions on. So we do, when you look at that list of buyers on our website, typically you're going to meet with about 70 to 80% of them. But there's going to be some that just aren't going to make sense. So for example, this week at my frozen food session in Chicago, I'll have a private label frozen foods buyer that just buys vegetables, frozen pizzas, and frozen fruits. Want to make sure that they're not on a supplier that has ice cream schedule that only offers branded ice cream. So we do a lot of curation and we do that homework in advance. And that's what your client success manager is, there for every week to be updating you on how your schedule is building, what that looks like, who you're meeting with. So you can see all that information and know who's there, why they are on or off your schedule. So hopefully that helps with that question. Do you recommend having UNFI KEHI distribution prior to investing in ECRM? Or are buyers fine with not having any distribution in place? What would you say, Tony?
That's a great question as well. We do bring UNFI and KE to the sessions as buyers. In a lot of cases, you know, it's kind of the chicken or the egg thing. So a lot of times when you're working with bigger distributors, whether it's these guys or other distributors across different categories, a lot of times they'll want you to have the distribution before they'll bring in your brand. And in some cases, they're managing a lot of the distribution for you. It just depends how you want to go about doing it. But I will tell you that in a lot of cases, um, it's important to have those retail buyers kind of in your pocket or kind of bought into your brand before you go to a distributor, because in a lot of cases those distributors would want to know who you're working with and give them a reason to bring your brand in. So, I always hedge on working both sides of the fence, because if you put all your eggs in the distributor basket, I know they've got some pretty high fees to begin with, and they're not able to distribute it for you, then you've kind of got to start the process over of going back and working on the retail side.
Can you explain who qualifies for Discovery Hub and pricing? Discovery Hub is exclusively for our first-time participants that are on RangeMe. So you all qualify because you're on RangeMe, but it's a special entry-level pricing that is for first-time participants on RangeMe. How often do you do the frozen food session? So we do it annually. Yes, you just missed it. It was this week. However, we do have some other sessions that include the frozen foods category. So depending on your product, another one we have a lot of our frozen food suppliers go to is our natural, organic, plant-based and gluten-free session that is in October. So that would be one to look at. Otherwise, yes, we're next April in Chicago, 2026 for Frozen. We started RangeMe to get into True Value. We pitched to them and have not heard anything. Travis, I'm not sure on the True Value, if it was a limited time campaign that we did or if it was something. So I might need to email you specifically on that one and just get some background to see if there's any more information that I can get to you. So I'll write that down. Do we have virtual sessions as well? If so, how does that work? Tony, you want to take
Yeah,
that
about
one?
95% of our sessions now are back in person. We did offer up a virtual platform that we created in-house during the pandemic, and it was a great tool for us to use. We do have some very small sessions that are kind of all encompassing. For example, diversity sessions, or we have some things, like I said earlier, sustainability, those types of sessions that we did that are kind of all encompassing that we'll do virtually. But most of our sessions now are back in person. But the way they work is virtually the same exact way as our in-person session. And the fact that we curate a schedule for you, it takes place over the course of a couple of days. But we use our ECRM Connect our ECRM Connect platform, which I mentioned we built in-house to host those meetings.
Okay. Looking for sessions with healthy food services. Plant-based, natural organic in October would be a good one for that. Same with the next question about the 100% grass-fed beef meat sticks. You're perfect for our snack session that's coming up in July. That will be in Dallas. And then we also have our natural organic session, plant-based, healthy. It's like all the healthy foods that's going to be in October. So that would be another good one to look at. The next bakery session that we have for in-person bakery, we do this again next year. So we just did our deli, dairy, and bakery session in Chicago this week. We do it annually, so it'll be next April. However, we do include the bakery category in a few future sessions. That natural organic plant-based one, gluten-free and keto that I mentioned, it's included in that. And then we do offer some of the virtual sessions that Tony mentioned that are in like the fourth quarter that include the bakery category, as well as like the frozen category I mentioned earlier. They pretty much run across all categories. That's for our diversity and minority owned session. That will be one to potentially look at. Our distribution connect session, which is focused on bringing in distributors. It's all distributors, and it's a virtual session. So that's another one to look at for bakery. What free services do you offer? So it's free to be on RangeMe if you want to build a profile. I think that's the thing that comes to mind first. And then all that we do have our blog and our, kind of our blog with a lot of trends and insights information that would also be great. It's on our website that I know Kurt posted in the chat earlier. What are contract manufacturing sessions? So these are sessions where you can come as a buyer. So if you're a brand looking for, ingredients or packaging, maybe some logistical services, our contract manufacturing sessions are great for you to come as a buyer and actually see all the different opportunities if you need a new co-man, something like that. Will this recording be shared? Yes, we will be sending that off to you here shortly. And then as far as like just to reiterate some things or trying to regroup back on the question on UNFI or KHE, we can send some information on it. But I think what Tony was getting to is we see suppliers that do it both ways, honestly. You just have to be prepared that as you talk to these retailers, you're going to have a way to get product to them. Because the one thing you want to have buy-in from the retailers that kind of shaking their head, this is great, I'm really interested. Because you're going to want to tell your distributors that you're working with that you already have some retailers interested. And it works the other way too when you talk to KHE and Unify and any of the retailer, any of those big distributors. They're going to be asking you like, who are you targeting? Where are you targeting to get these products in? And if you bring it in through them, then you're going to want to be pushing it to the retailers too. So I've had suppliers that come in that already have some distribution set up either through the majors or through some of the regionals. But I've also had suppliers that are going to try to take other routes, like then going through some of those big distributors. And so they come to meet with some of the retailers that we have that maybe aren't taking products through those accounts, or that are, and they're just looking to get their interest first. So I hope that helps a little bit elaborate on what Tony said earlier. But Carol, we can definitely email. You'll be getting an email from me shortly. Let's see here. We have two last questions. Our brand is a health and wellness market focused on menopause and bed sores. FDA approval. So we would, I mean, really, I think the question is like, could we find out who the right buyer is? One of the questions we'd ask you is, where do you want your product merchandised? That's going to be how we tell you what session's best to meet with those buyers. Do you want the product merchandised in the maybe like
Personal
fem
care area.
high? Yeah, the fem high area. That's what comes to me first. Like that would probably be our personal care session that Tony manages, and maybe the bed sores could be in the healthcare area. It could be like a home health or a healthcare. So we'd have to talk to you about where it wanted to be merchandised, and we could direct you to the right session.
But we do have a session for every one of the categories that you might want to be in. We do have a home health care session. We have a personal care, which is fem high, and then we also have a healthcare session.
And then do you have ways we can look at trends and pricing data on a retail level for a particular product? So one of the benefits of coming to a session is you do get a slice of Nielsen data. It's more than a slice. It's actually pretty powerful. I think Nielsen told me it's $10,000 worth of data that they're giving us at each session for suppliers to review. So there is some information that you get from Nielsen as a participant. We also have a lot of trend information in our blog that we're covering through industry experts, maybe in some of our educational sessions that we're then sharing on our blog. But we are getting those from other industry experts or other industry relationships. It's not something that we develop here. So if you have something really, really specific, we probably refer you to our Nielsen contacts. Tony, would you say anything else there?
No, no, I think that's spot on. The data is very raw. I will say that. So there's a lot of information there, and it's raw data that you can use to your benefit. But it probably would need some work to really hone in on specific things.
Great. Wow, we still have 33 of you that stuck with us 10 minutes after the hour. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully those that had to drop will hear our answers in the recording that we sent out. But again, we know these retailers are looking for brands like you at our session. So we would love to see you at a future session. Feel free to grab some time on my calendar when you get my email here shortly, and we will extend that special discount. All you have to do is reference that you were on the webinar, and we'll get that taken care of. So thank you. And thank you, Tony.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you in a session soon. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.